In a dense forest, a kid named Lloyd is hunting. He spots a bunny and tries to catch it, but the bunny tricks him and jumps into Lloyd's face, causing him to fall to the ground. Lloyd gets up and hears someone calling him. He looks up and sees his big brother, Shoma, standing on a huge branch of the tree the bunny escaped through. Shoma had caught the bunny when it tried to run away from Lloyd. Lloyd jumps happily and hugs Shoma. Shoma marvels at how much Lloyd has grown. As they walk back home, Lloyd asks Shoma if living in the outside world is fun and expresses his desire to see it too. Shoma replies that Lloyd needs to work hard so he can take him out there. Shoma pulls out a souvenir from his travel bag and gives it to Lloyd as a gift. Lloyd is thrilled and thanks him for it. In the next scene, Lloyd knocks on the door of a small house. He opens the door and finds a lady dressed in purple reading a book. Lloyd asks if she's Marie, the witch of the East Side. The witch explains that since ancient times, witches have granted wishes, but at a price. She tells Lloyd to leave immediately, unless he's ready to make a similar sacrifice. Marie closes the book and asks him what he desires that is worth such a sacrifice. Lloyd bows respectfully and tells her he came from the countryside to become a soldier. He introduces himself as Lloyd Belladonna and admits he'd like to stay with her for a little while, but the witch angrily tells him to find an inn and check the bulletin in the town square, insisting she's a witch, not a handyman or an innkeeper. Marie asks where he comes from. Lloyd answers that he's from a place called Kunlun. The witch seems surprised and asks who their village chief is. Lloyd replies that her name is Alka. He pulls out a crystal from his bag and places it on the table, saying he was asked to show it to her. Marie looks scared, but a minute later, the crystal glows, and a lady emerges from the light. The lady says she's Alka, her master. Alka tells the witch to take good care of Lloyd, her precious little village child. Before leaving, she assures Lloyd that whenever he's lonely, she'll come by to cuddle with him. After Alka departs, Marie gets furious, lamenting that she thought she was finally free from Alka, but now she's made another request. Lloyd apologizes for any trouble he may have caused, but Marie admits it wasn't his fault. She tells Lloyd she'll take care of him until the entrance exams and instructs him to use the back room. Lloyd thanks her, saying he looks forward to their time together. Marie goes back to her seat, thinking aloud that Lloyd seems like a decent guy for someone so close to Alka. Just then, Alka appears in the room and threatens to turn Marie into a frog for life. Marie is shocked to see her again, and Alka explains that she uses the crystal as a gate to teleport wherever she wants. She warns Marie to make sure nothing inappropriate happens between her and Lloyd. Alka mentions she used Loli's grandma several times to mock her and punished her with an ancient rune magic that gave her the curse of constant small misfortunes. The next morning, Lloyd wakes up early and makes breakfast. He takes a tray to Marie and tells her he borrowed her kitchen. Marie says she doesn't mind and admits that the pancakes are delicious. As they were having breakfast, Marie curiously asked Lloyd why he wanted to be a soldier. Lloyd replied that he felt he was the weakest in his village, unable to gather firewood or catch fish. He shared that once, he sparred with his big brother and ended up unable to get up for an entire day. Lloyd told Marie that he has looked up to a strong and noble hero from the novels since he was little, admitting that he wanted to be like him and would never give up. Marie asked if Lloyd knew what the entrance exams for the military academy in the kingdom of Azami involved. He mentioned hearing there was a combat test, a written exam about magic, and an interview, admitting that was all he knew. Marie emphasized that the combat test was the most important part. Lloyd explained to Marie that his stamina was his weak point, and that it took him 6 whole days to reach her. Marie encouraged him, pointing out that Kunlun was far from Azami, and that 6 days by train wasn't so bad. However, Lloyd opened up, confessing that he had run down to her. Marie was shocked to hear this. He insisted that his grandpa always said it took him only 2 days to run that distance. Marie asked if Lloyd encountered any monsters on his way, but he replied that he was lucky and didn't run into any monsters while he was running. He did see some wild animals, including huge locusts and fire-breathing lizards, but Marie interrupted him, saying those were indeed monsters and quite dangerous. As they talked, Marie spilled some tea on her cheeks, and Lloyd offered her a clean cloth to wipe her face. After cleaning up, Marie noticed her skin felt smooth, and the spots and freckles she worried about were gone. Lloyd explained that if someone applied a simple ancient rune before cleaning with a rag, even the worst stains would come right off. Marie informed him that it wasn't a home remedy but a disenchant rune, which she spent 3 years learning, and it could remove any curse. Lloyd visited the city and was amazed at how big and crowded it was. He overheard some guys discussing the National Foundation Festival and learned that many people, like him, were there to train for the military. He decided to stay focused, since it was his first errand. Somewhere in the city, a lady bumped into a man, and he realized she was the Belt Princess. He remarked that the rumors must be true about her applying to the academy. However, the princess ignored him and walked away. The guy called out, telling her she had damaged the reputations of the local nobles. As the Belt Princess walked down a lonely path, she encountered a monster. Luckily, Lloyd came to her rescue and killed the giant insect. He helped her to her feet, wiped the mud off her dress, and cleaned her face too, but the princess began to hide her identity. Lloyd then said he had to leave since he had errands to run. The Belt Princess called out to him, introducing herself as Selen. He introduced himself and said goodbye. The Belt Princess couldn't stop thinking about Lloyd. She looked in the mirror, wishing her face would look different, but couldn't shake the curse. She remembered how she'd been teased about her appearance. There was a flashback to when her father invited a pastor to share words of salvation with her. The pastor had encouraged her that one day, strength would lift her curse. From that day on, she used those words to push herself harder and harder. The Belt Princess cries endlessly, thinking that all her hope is in vain. She rips the belt from her face and realizes she has been healed and freed from her curse. Then, she remembers it was Lloyd who healed her. Overwhelmed, she breaks down in tears of joy, proclaiming that Lloyd is the man of her destiny. Lloyd returns home after picking up the items the witch had sent. He lays everything down and shows her the souvenir he bought with the change he had left for her. He hands it to her and goes off to prepare dinner. In another scene, two royals are seen from a building, a man named Murthafan and a woman referred to as Colonel Colleen. The woman notes that there are many more people this year, and that there seems to be more variety in the crowd. She's impressed and acknowledges that he must have put in extra effort to gather so many different kids. Murthafan responds that it's all for the peace of the nation, and that relations with neighboring countries are only getting worse. He mentions that the princess is missing, and that the stability of their nation relies on their strength, the military, but she insists it's a bit risky too. She cites Riho Flavin, the one-armed mercenary known for attacking clients she doesn't like and for border violations. However, Murthafan reassures her that at heart, she's a mercenary, and with the right contract, she won't cause any trouble. Colonel Cholene asks what kind of contracts he means, and he replies that he told her all her outstanding warrants would be cleared if she joined. While they discuss it, she spots the eldest of the noble Lidocaine family. This local family has earned numerous contract honors. His real name is Alan Toyne Lidocaine, and he's arguing with the Belt Princess. He harshly asks why she couldn't have removed the belt earlier if she was capable of it. He further argues that if she could present herself nicely, she should have done that from the very beginning. A soldier approaches the campground, announcing they will start a combat test immediately. He instructs everyone to use any weapon to attack the dummy. Finally, the test results come out, and Lloyd fails the combat test. At the academy, the Belt Princess and Murthafan are shocked that Lloyd didn't pass the combat test. Colonel Cholene goes over the students' guidelines and explains that their kingdom is on the verge of war with the Jew Empire. As she talks, Murthafan wonders how the military will manage without Lloyd Belladonna. Colonel Cholene also shares a headache they've had for 5 years, the disappearance of Princess Maria Azami. She announces that anyone who finds the princess will earn a cash reward, a promotion, or other benefits. Lloyd strolls back home, thinking out loud about how he did poorly in both the martial arts and written tests. While he knows the results aren't surprising, he's still disappointed. He walks into a house by the road and finds a young man who looks furious to see him. The man asks what Lloyd wants, but he insists he's there without any ill will. The man senses his latent powers and instinctively attacks first, puzzled if Lloyd is trying to gather information from him since he was a former royal guard. But Lloyd clarifies he's there for the part-time job offer. The man explains that it's a cafeteria and asks what skills Lloyd has. Lloyd replies that he's good at cooking and cleaning, adding that he was the best at those skills back home. The man asks him to show what he can do. Lloyd offers to cook risotto and rushes to the kitchen. While cooking, Lloyd admits to himself that he just failed the military academy's entrance exams. He remembers the big send-off party his village threw for him when he left, and adds that he didn't want to return home empty-handed. He considers staying in the capital for a while and retaking the test next year. Meanwhile, the Belt Princess, Murthafan, Colonel Cholene, and Riho Flavin discuss how Lloyd could have failed his tests. Riho goes through Lloyd's test papers and notes that Lloyd is a unique individual who can't control his artistic impulses. Colonel Cholene also reviews the papers and discovers that Lloyd's answers are written in ancient runes. Riho asks what the runes are capable of, and the colonel explains that ancient ancient runes combined with the caster's skills in magic can achieve incredible things that normal magic can't. Murthafan mentions he met the man who interviewed Lloyd. He explains that besides what was written on the exam sheet, the only magic Lloyd could use is calling rain. They all think this might be a lie, but Colonel Cholin argues that he might not be lying, suggesting that if he can use ancient rune magic, calling rain is plausible. She concludes that this Lloyd kid might have some truly amazing magical abilities. Back at the cafeteria, Lloyd presents the tomato and white fish risotto he just made to the cafeteria owner, known as Chrome Molybdenum, the former head of the Royal Guard. The man is surprised that Lloyd cooked like a normal person. He's still wary and questions if Lloyd plans to attack while he eats. After trying the food, he admits it's delicious. He finally agrees to hire Lloyd. The Belt Princess and the trio walk back from the academy. She tells them that she'll find the missing princess and invite Sir Lloyd to the academy as a reward. Colonel Cholin agrees it's a good plan. Back at the witch's house, Lloyd breaks the news to Marie and the chief. They're surprised he failed the test, but Lloyd reassures them that he plans to retake it next year. He asks the witch if he can stay at her place a little longer, saying he found a part-time job and will pay rent. Marie and the chief agree to his proposal, allowing him to stay in the city. Lloyd is thrilled that they all agree. He thanks them and goes to prepare dinner. Marie and Chief Alta continue their conversation. Marie asks the chief that if she has so much power to spare, she should save their kingdom. Chief Alta asks how dire the situation is, and Marie explains that it's been 5 years since King Azami became a strong pro-war advocate. The one controlling the king is set to declare war during the upcoming National Foundation Festival. Many foreign officials and heads of state are invited that year, and war will break out with the Jew Empire. Marie tells the chief she doesn't want that to happen, but the chief reminds her that she's already explained the villagers of Kunlun only help when the threat is unimaginable, like a demon lord or an epic disaster. She adds they won't get involved in petty fights between humans over pride and the wars that follow. Marie admits she knows this is the reason she risked her life to learn the disenchanted rune 5 years ago. The chief warns Marie not to involve Lloyd in any of this, or she'll send him back to Kunlun immediately. The Belt Princess, Selen, got into a fight with Alan Toyne, but Lloyd was asked to take Selen's place and face Alan instead. He was told to punch Alan in the face, but just as he was about to do it, a whirlwind appeared, and Lloyd vanished. Miss Marie, the witch, caused the whirlwind to save Lloyd from the trouble he was in. Marie advised Lloyd to stay out of trouble. While they talked, Chrome Molybdenum met up with them and urged Lloyd to return to the cafeteria. Chrome told the witch that he knew the whirlwind was her doing. He admitted he was really happy to see she was okay because he had been miserable since the day she went missing. Marie also expressed her relief that he was all right, but questioned what he was doing out there. Chrome explained to Marie that he left the army after losing their princess and chose to keep a low profile by running a cafeteria. However, he secretly searched for her and tried to understand why the king had changed. Marie acknowledged that they had both faced a lot, but things were about to change. She explained that during the international summit on the 3rd day of the festival, everything would come to a head. Marie further explained that the culprit would likely manipulate the king and declare war on Jiu, telling him they needed to stop that before it happened. Chrome asked the princess if she knew who the culprit was, but she said no, which is why she needed his help. In another scene, Murthafan was reviewing the training regimen again in an office. Colonel Cholin admitted he was a hard worker. Murthafan replied that it was for the peace of their kingdom, but Cholin insisted on knowing why he was so serious about it. Murthafan explained that a long time ago, a famine struck, and his hometown suffered from hunger and poverty. The Jew army attacked them when they were down and took all their remaining supplies. Murthafan vowed he wouldn't let that happen again. Meanwhile, Selena, the Belt Princess, and Riho were discussing their plan to find the missing princess and also get Lloyd into the academy. They decided to visit Marie, the witch known for sharing information. They knocked on the door, and Lloyd opened it. Selen was surprised to see that Lloyd lived with the witch. Lloyd offered them coffee. A few minutes later, Marie walked in, complaining about how tired she was. She asked for a beer with some magical ice. Lloyd quickly volunteered to boil some edamame beans too. Marie noticed her guests and asked Lloyd who they were. Lloyd introduced the two ladies to Marie. Marie asked them what kind of information they needed. Selen replied that they were on a mission from their officers to find the princess. At this point, Marie felt uneasy, and Riho sensed something fishy was going on. Riho wondered what Marie was hiding and noticed she resembled the princess. Selen told Marie they would love to know more about her and asked how long she had been living in the city. Marie replied that she had lived there for 2 years. Selen admitted she was devastated by this but wanted to hear the truth. Marie asked why they were so so eager to find the princess. Selin responded that if they found her, they could get Sir Lloyd into the academy as a reward. Marie suggested they trade information. She wanted to know about the king's condition, the academy, and the military presence in the castle. She insisted that any detail they could share, no matter how small, would help her a lot, pleading with them that the country was in grave danger, but they insisted that she clear up who she was. Finally, she revealed herself as Princess Maria Azami. They were both shocked to learn she was the missing princess. The princess then asked if they knew a town named Kunlun, but they replied they had only heard of it in fairy tales. Maria told them that Lloyd was from there. They were excited and concluded that they could see where his strength came from. Marie further explained that Kunlun forbids its villagers from getting involved in human conflicts. That's why Lloyd can't get mixed up in it. If he did, he'd be forced to go home, and his dreams would fall apart. Marie tells them that right now, in the central area, everyone from cadets to street thugs is out frantically searching for the princess. The orders from whoever initiated the search are to bring her back immediately, dead or alive. This disturbs Selina, and she wonders who would give such a mission. Marie speculates that it's likely someone trying to spark a war, trying to prevent those opposing the war from using the princess as a symbol of peace. She adds that this makes getting things done really difficult. Riho and Selina decide to help the princess. Marie is on her own. She thinks about her next move and figures that all she needs to do is use the disenchant rune to free father. In another scene, Riho and Selina are looking into the situation. They come across a guy they question about the mission to capture the princess. The guy admits he never saw the person who asked him to look for the princess, but he kept repeating one phrase like he was out of it. Riho asks what phrase, and he replies, "For the peace of the kingdom." Chrome, the cafeteria owner, is seen in the palace. He says he's there to ask to be reinstated into military service. Murthafan assures him that the king has likely received his request. He tells Chrome to go back home and wait for them to reach out, but Chrome interrupts, saying that out of everyone the princess and her trusted friends gathered, he's the only one who uses the phrase, "For the peace of the kingdom." Chrome accuses him of being the culprit all along. Murthafan laughs and admits he is indeed the culprit. Meanwhile, the princess and her trusted friends are eavesdropping on their conversation, as if it was all a setup. Murthafan is surprised when the princess reveals herself. But then the king suddenly appears. He tells Murthafan that he has been using him this whole time and finally lets him go. The king confesses he was the one who had humans attack his village. He approaches him, places his hand on his head, and transforms him into a monster that will serve him forever. Riho and Selina find a way to distract the now monster Murthafan. The princess follows the king and tries to fight him, but he's stronger than her. As she gathers the courage to defeat him, she realizes he is the demon lord Abaddon. Chief Alka and Lloyd were at the festival. After a while, Lloyd tells the chief that he needs to be somewhere. He adds that even if he angers Miss Marie, even if she stops him or if he feels too weak, nothing will stop him from going. Back at the palace, Marie is shocked to realize that the culprit is a demon king. Suddenly, she remembers that the chief once said the villagers of Kunlun only help when the threat is beyond human comprehension, like a demon lord or some epic disaster. Marie runs away from the demon lord, wishing she had known this sooner. The chief would have intervened. In the middle of a street, Lloyd runs to find Marie. Along the way, he meets a startled soldier who is terrified and hiding from a giant locust. Lloyd quickly kills the locust, leaving the scared soldier wondering about his strength. But Lloyd encourages him, saying he's stronger than he is and all he has to do is face his fears. At the palace, Chrome, the cafeteria owner, fights Murthafan, who has been turned by the demon lord. He fights alongside Riho and Selin, but his strength surpasses theirs as he defeats them all. Riho tells Selin they need to come up with excuses so Lloyd can rescue them. Selin agrees, but she steps forward. Murthafan tries to hit her, but the belt blocks the attack. It's enchanted by Lloyd's magic spells. The belt princess is excited and informs them that the belt ties her fate to Sir Lloyd's. Riho tells Selin to keep Murthafan occupied while she goes to get Lloyd. As she runs to find him, she sees him running towards them. Lloyd is glad everyone is okay. He steps up to face Murthafan and asks him why he is doing this as a soldier. Lloyd tells him that, to his understanding, a soldier is someone who protects the livelihoods, smiles, and peaceful days of everyday people. Lloyd continues talking to Colonel Murthafan, asking what was on his mind the day he decided to be a soldier. Murthafan man reflects and admits that he wants to create a world free of war and despair. As they talk, they all think of the princess and wonder where she is. Lloyd runs to the door to find her, but the princess is already running toward them. She hugs Lloyd and says she's happy to see him. The demon lord walks in. Lloyd takes a piece of cloth bound by an ancient rune and wipes the face of the demon lord. When it's finally over, Lloyd goes to the princess and notices her hands are bruised from fighting the demon lord. He uses the cloth to clean her hands. Marie hugs him again and thanks him for saving her life. Back on the streets of the city, a lot has happened, but he's happy the festival went well. Lost in thought, he looks up and is surprised to see Shoma, his older brother, right in front of him. Lloyd runs to embrace him and asks what Shoma is doing at Azami. Shoma replies that he came to deliver goods for the festival stalls. Shoma exclaims how big Lloyd has gotten and that he defeated Abaddon. Shoma admits he was surprised, but it was intense. Just then, Chief Alta runs up to Lloyd with a banana chocolate and apologizes for keeping him waiting, but they soon realize Shoma is gone and nowhere to be seen. Chrome, the cafeteria owner, is now in a soldier's uniform. He has been recruited. Colonel Cholene asks if Murthafan is the reason he decided to join them. Colonel Chrome explains that, more or less, he feels responsible for not being able to stop him. Colonel Cholene wonders where Murthafan is, but Chrome informs her that the royal family decided to send him to the outskirts to do hard labor in a monster-filled environment. Chief Alka tells Murthafan that his next task is to work on the wheat farm. She explains that a while ago the Locust Demon Lord caused famine across the continent. She reveals she used runes to create a type of wheat that can grow year-round, and admits she got tired of spreading it around the whole continent. Chief Alka visits Marie and asks her if she's planning to return to the castle soon. She replies that her father is recovering and should be able to rule again shortly. She adds that she got used to life there and has decided not to go back to being a princess. Lloyd was finally accepted into the academy and received his soldier uniform. The girls congratulated him on taking his first step toward his dreams. Marie wondered who helped Lloyd get into the academy, since she heard someone suggested Selen and the others. Lloyd introduces Riho and Selen to Chief Alka, saying they are his friends. Chief Alka notices that she's wearing a belt that can protect her from evil, which is a legendary artifact from the village of Kunlun that shields its wearer from all harm. Mr. Allen from the academy arrives while the ladies are talking with Lloyd. Lloyd tells them it was him who got into the academy, but Mr. Allen insists he needs to thank him because he helped him during that monster attack the other day. He explains he had been working out that day, and his superior wanted to reward him. He mentions that he didn't want to pressure anyone, but he suggested bringing Sir Lloyd into the academy. Marie, the princess, along with Chrome and Lloyd, is out picking up trash when they stumble upon a strange man's yard. There's a big magical sword stuck in a rock next to his property. Chrome confirms it's the holy sword that can't be pulled out unless you have a high level of magical power. But then Lloyd manages to pull it out, leaving the man in awe. The man complains that Lloyd ruined his business plans since the spot was supposed to be the Holy Sword Forest campsite, Holy Sword Forest golf course, museum, and park. Marie declares the matter settled. Chrome asks the princess what they should do with the sword, and she replies that the mayor will likely make a fake replica, so they need to announce its removal as soon as possible. At the academy, Lloyd and his friends just finish physical training. They all complain about how exhausted they are, except for Lloyd, who thinks it was fun. Riho comforts herself, hoping the next class will be about magi theory, so she can rest while listening. Just then, Colonel Chlorine walks in and tells them there will be no theory classes starting that day. Instead, they will have practical lessons, and she'll be picking candidates for the upcoming inter-school match against Rokujo Sorcery Academy. Mr. Allen explains that inter-school matches are held annually, and Azami has been on a losing streak for several years. Lloyd encourages everyone, insisting they'll win this time for sure. The soldiers gather outside on the field as the colonel teaches them magic practice. She explains the three main types of magic. The first is chants, which involves speaking words. The second is sigils, where you draw pictures and write texts. And the last is conduits, using magical stones and staves. Each type has its pros and cons, so it's best to use them flexibly. After the theory, they start practicing. After training, Selen approaches Colonel Chlorine and tells her she wants to learn healing magic because she heard the colonel is an expert. The colonel asks why she wants to learn so badly, and Selen replies that she wants to heal someone dear to her to strengthen their bond. Riho overhears and warns Selen that healing magic is tough, with many people underestimating it and giving up. She explains that you can close a wound with dirt or pebbles still inside, which can lead to complications and surgery all over again. Mr. Allen joins the conversation, suggesting that if it's so hard, they should start learning it sooner. Encouraged, Lloyd decides he wants to learn too. After discussing it further, the Colonel proposes a Sholin's healing boot camp session, mentioning they'll need someone injured. Selen kicks Mr. Allen, causing him to fall and hurt himself, but Colonel Chlorine reassures him that she'll fix him up no matter how much pain he feels. Meanwhile, Marie is at home, sipping tea and reading a book when two ladies walk into her room, startling her. She asks who they are, and they apologize for the scare, introducing themselves as Menaquinine and Philoquinine, sisters. Marie inquires if they are the mercenary sisters of Rokuju, and they confirm, mentioning they are students there as well. Marie asks the sisters what they want, and they pull out a photo of a girl, saying they are looking for her. From Marie's expression, it's clear she knows the girl. Just then, Lloyd arrives back from training. He glances at the picture Quinine is holding, and tells her she's Miss Riho. He adds that they both attend the same academy. Filio approaches Lloyd and asks if she can be his apprentice. She tells him that she'll cook, clean, and take care of his enemies. Lloyd declines their request, saying that it's Marie's house and he can't take them in. After a while, Chief Alka appears and tells Marie she heard she took a trip to the Holy Sword Village. Marie replies that they were just passing through. At the academy, Chrome knows the interstate match is coming up soon, and since they're working so hard, he thinks maybe he should set up some kind of prize. Riho asks Colonel Chlorine why she wants to win so badly, but the Colonel replies that it's because the snake woman she hates just became the headmaster of Rokuju. Suddenly, the snake woman shows up and asks if they were talking about her. The Colonel asks what she's doing there since the matches don't start anytime soon. The snake woman walks up to Riho, saying she's been looking for her and is glad her arms are okay too. Selen asks the Colonel who the strange lady is. Colonel Chlorine explains that her name is Rol Calcife, her classmate back at Rokuju. She played politics to get rid of her rivals, ultimately becoming the headmaster. Rol whispers in Riho's ear, telling her to come home unless she wants to lose even more things that are dear to her. Rol says she will hear her response on the day of the match. At dinner in Marie's home, Lloyd tells her there's someone he needs to cheer up, but he doesn't know how. Marie suggests that if it's a woman, he could ask her to join him for tea and have a proper date. Lloyd wonders if anyone would enjoy going on a date with a weak, dull boy like him. Marie replies that he just has to be passionate and pull her along if he has to. Lloyd thanks Miss Marie for her advice and decides he'll ask Riho on a date the next day. The next day, Lloyd approaches Riho and asks her out. They go to a cafe where he orders donuts, but Riho stays quiet the entire time. Lloyd wonders if she doesn't like donuts. He asks her to tell him what happened since he noticed she seemed down after the other day. Riho starts sharing that she lived in an orphanage and that's where she met Rol. Rol was good at magic and taught her a lot, but because of her left hand, she couldn't do anything to help the orphanage. Then one day, when Rock came home, she was holding a mithril prosthetic arm. Riho was thrilled and thought she could finally earn some money for the orphanage and work alongside Rol, but she ran away. Rol gave her that arm to use the mithril's power to boost her magic abilities. In exchange for her life, she could pull out the holy sword. Riho explains that no one can touch her mithril with bare hands, or it'll suck the magic out of them. She further explains that it's like a plant rooting in her and constantly draining her magic, which is why she keeps running away, no matter how many fake crimes result in warrants for her arrest. Lloyd touches her hands and assures her that she can trust him and that he'll never betray her. The interstate match is about to start, and Colonel Chrome announces that the special prizes for the winners are a cash award and the legendary holy sword. As the interstate match starts, the instructor informs the contestants that they will compete one-on-one. The first team to win twice takes the match. They can use anything for defense, but may only attack with magical items like staves and magic stones. Physical attacks like punching or kicking are forbidden and will result in immediate disqualification. The referee calls the first competitors to step forward. Selen and Filio come forward and are told to begin. Filio casts stone magic on Selen, but she hopes her belt will protect her from all evil. To her surprise, the belt doesn't work. Filio uses thunder and flame magic against Selen, but her belt absorbs it. Selen tells Filio that it's time for her counterattack. She controls the belt to tie up Filio. However, the referee blows the whistle, disqualifying her for violating the rule against physical attacks. Filio is declared the winner of the round. The students from Rokuju cheer as they win the first round, but Colonel Chorin encourages her team, reminding them that a loss is a loss and they shouldn't dwell on it. The next round is between Lloyd and Mena. Mena uses water magic to try to force Lloyd to give up, but he withstands it. She then unleashes a waterfall magic on him, creating a wall of water and fog for defense and distraction. However, Lloyd calls on the water and counters Mena's magic, forcing her to self-destruct. Lloyd is declared the winner of the round. The final round is between Ril and Riho. Riho uses magic from her mithril to fight Ril. She tries to exhaust Ril's magical powers. Ril stands strong, forcing Riho to remove her mithril arm. Riho falls to the ground, weakened, and asks what Ril has done to her. Ril replies that she placed the arm on her to remove it. Before Ril realizes it, Riho chants a spell, throwing her off balance. Ril is surprised and wonders what just happened. Riho explains that her former magic teacher used to say that if you cast healing magic on a wound with foreign objects still inside, it could seal the wound and leave the object inside the body. Since she couldn't tell from the outside that something was inside, she had to be cautious. Clearly, Riho had planted a magic stone in her arm and cast a healing spell over it. Riho also cast a delayed action heal. Riho is declared the winner of the round. Since Riho and Selen are in the hospital, the sword is given to Lloyd. This information is relayed to Ril by her student, but she replies that as much as she'd like to take it from him, she can't in her current state. The spy tells her he has intel on the person responsible for retrieving the holy sword. He explains that it's a shady figure called the Witch of the East Side. The spy informs Ril that this witch has a younger brother whom she is very protective of. Ril instructs Mena to bring this boy to her immediately, the one the witch is overprotective of. Lloyd gets home and finds that Miss Marie isn't there. Instead, he finds a note saying they have something precious of his. To get it back, he must stake the legendary sword by any means necessary. The note also says to bring the sword to the lighthouse on the south side. Lloyd and Alan rush to the lighthouse but are confronted by Filio, who challenges Lloyd to a fight. He suggests they settle it with an arm wrestle, and Filio finally agrees. Lloyd hands the sword to Mr. Allen while he goes to arm wrestle Filio. As Allen hides around a corner, Ril's spy confronts him, demanding the sword, but he refuses. Mina comes to Allen's rescue, stating that she's there to fight Ril because she heard bad things about her sister, as if she were just some kind of tool. She had overheard them talking while they thought she was fast asleep. It's nighttime. A man is lying on the ground. Mina and Philo stand over him, relieved that he's still alive. They think about what caused his unconsciousness and decide to go ahead with their assignment because it comes with a nice bonus. As they lift him up, Mena and Philo discuss what they want to eat, planning to stop by the infirmary first. In the morning, Lloyd picks up some books when Riho approaches him. She asks if he's interested in going horse racing with her during the long break. Suddenly, Selen appears behind her, startling her. Selen complains that she won't have her romantic vacation with Lloyd because her family has called her back. She considers setting her family house on fire, but Lloyd politely declines and says he has other plans. She even asks if he will marry her. Riho, annoyed, tells her she's being ridiculous, and they start teasing each other about asking Lloyd out. While they're playfully arguing, Alan interrupts them, muttering to himself. When asked, he says he has a formal marriage interview to attend over the vacation and won't be available to support Sir Lloyd. He seems excited about it. At this point, Selen and Riho take Lloyd away, saying Alan is just trying to get their attention. Lloyd is at home, where he finds Marie and Chief fighting. He tells them he's going away for a live-in, part-time job, which abruptly ends their argument. Lloyd explains that Mr. Chrome introduced him to a big hotel where he wants to help with cleaning and cooking. They try to talk him into staying, but he insists he wants to go. Then Chief and Marie decide they want to join him, but he convinces them he needs to learn to rely on himself. The next scene shows Koba Lehman thinking about the arrival of the part-time staff. Suddenly, Lloyd appears behind him, startling him. They introduce themselves. Koba Lehman is the hotel owner, and Lloyd is the new part-time employee. Koba was the leader of the Royal Guard in the Azami Royal Army. Koba shows Lloyd around and shares a problem they're facing at the hotel. People have been found in a comatose state, and they haven't figured out why. Koba sought help from the government through Chrome and mentioned needing part-time staff. Lloyd offers to help with the issue. In another room of the hotel, a girl is hiding behind a pillar. It's Kikyu. Koba calls out to her and introduces her to Lloyd as his senior colleague. Koba hands Lloyd over to Kikyu, who immediately gives him a brush to start cleaning. As she starts lecturing him about being a good employee with her eyes closed, Lloyd cleans quickly. Kikyu is shocked by his speed. She keeps yelling while Koba returns. The bright light from the now clean skylights catches his eye, and he's really impressed that Lloyd has already finished cleaning. He gives Lloyd his uniform and takes him for his next task. Lloyd's next job is to welcome an important guest, Lord 309, who has just arrived. Koba and Lloyd greet him while he admires the cypress trees and enjoys some wine. Lord 309 notices Lloyd and asks what he thinks of the cypress forest. Lloyd responds that while it's beautiful, transforming the forest into a tourist spot seems wasteful. He goes on about how well the trees are planted. Lord 309 shows interest in Lloyd's knowledge of pruning. They discuss the risks of turning the forest into a national treasure, and Lord 309 is pleased to find that Lloyd shares his views. Koba gives Lloyd a thumbs up, clearly impressed. At night, Kikyu meets 309. They talk about the comatose victims. 309 suspects Trant attacks are behind it. He explains they need to investigate before the forest is declared a national treasure. When Kikyu asks why he's so early, he mentions he has some good intel. First, a local lord wants to arrange a marriage for his son and has been buying treants lately, making a lot of money. 309 says that when a treant is defeated, it leaves behind high-quality lumber that can be sold legally. He believes the trade volume is too high, and he needs to gather proof through his son. Second, he mentions that a parasitic treant sapling called the Demon Lord seedling was stolen from a monster research lab and sold to a merchant. He notes that the strength of a host infected by the treant sapling increases, allowing them to travel long distances. Kikyu remembers Lloyd's super fast cleaning and tells 309 about it. 309 gives Kikyu a jar of herbal medicine, advising her to rub it on Lloyd or mix it into his food to help expel the treant from his body. In the next scene, Kikyu offers Lloyd a cup of tea mixed with the medication. Just before he can drink it, Koba barges in. He tells Lloyd to get some rest, and Lloyd leaves. Koba, seeing Kikyu with the tea, grabs it and drinks it. He quickly spits it out while choking. He yells at her as she jumps out the window. Looking out, he thinks Kikyu might be involved in the comatose cases. The next morning, Riho admires her hotel room and orders something from the front desk. Lloyd brings it to her, and they're surprised to run into each other. He mentions investigating something in the hotel. Riho had ordered a massage, and Lloyd is supposed to give it to her. She screams at the idea. She does not want a man touching her. Meanwhile, Celine arrives at the hotel with her father for a marriage meeting with an army elite named Alan. Despite Celine's attempts to avoid it, her father takes her along. Celine and her father are seated with Lord 309. Before Alan arrives, Celine considers killing him to prove her love for Lloyd. When the door opens, Lloyd strides in. Celine is overjoyed. She was expecting Alan. She jumps on Lloyd and pulls him out of the room. Celine's father and 309 settle down to talk. Celine remains on top of Lloyd, sharing her feelings. Miss Riho enters and pulls her by the head off of him. They explain why Alan never showed up. Alan was found in a pool, looking abnormal. The hotel staff tried to wake him, but he was unconscious and mumbling. He was taken to the infirmary. Because of this, 309 asks Lloyd to step in for Alan, while Riho fills in for Lloyd. Celine suggests they disguise themselves as dates to investigate what's going on, while Riho checks things out from the inside as an employee. Lloyd agrees. Selin and Lloyd are by the lake. Selin seems disappointed with how Lloyd is acting on their date. She comments on the beauty of the lake and insists he tells her she's more beautiful. Riho comes to his rescue and pushes Selin to the ground. At the hotel, Koba is suspicious of 309 and wants to find out why Lloyd is substituting for Alan. Meanwhile, Selin, Riho, and Lloyd are together, refreshing their plans. Selin is still hung up on her feelings for Lloyd. While they're talking, someone on horseback calls out to Riho as she's wearing a staff uniform. Lloyd recognizes him as Shoma. Shoma tells the trio he received a huge order for firebombs from the hotel. Riho suspects Selin. Lloyd introduces Shoma to the girls, mentioning they live together in Kunlun. Shoma asks them to handle the delivery for him, but Selin pulls Lloyd away and instructs Riho on how to take care of it. Next, Lloyd and Selin try out different date ideas. Selin is all over him. While they're in a boat, she shares a story about her belt. She explains that it was part of her father's antique collection and first bonded to her face. It frustrates her that as soon as the belt comes off, her father tries to set her up with Alan. While Lloyd doubts his ability to succeed on his own, Selin encourages him and reassures him. She promises to keep their discussion a secret and gets excited about the idea of marrying Lloyd again. In the bushes, Kikyu is watching Lloyd and Selin. She waits for her chance and rushes to Lloyd just as Selin steps aside. Lloyd is enjoying a foot bath and feels someone nearby. He sees Kikyu and asks what she wants. She says she wants to give him a massage and takes out some herbal medication. He agrees. Now shirtless, Lloyd sits while Kikyu applies the medication to his back and chest. Nothing happens, much to her surprise. She wonders where the Treant parasite is. When she reaches into his trousers, Selen suddenly appears and hits her with her belt, sending Kikyu flying. They start to fight. Selen fights with her belt, while Kikyu shows off her agility. When Lloyd realizes he's no longer being massaged, he walks over to the girls. While Selen seems smitten with his half-naked body, Kikyu takes the chance to escape. Selen suggests they take a hot spring bath together, and Lloyd agrees. In the next scene, Lloyd is in the hot spring. Just as Selen is about to join him, Riho arrives in a towel as well. Selen angrily questions her about why she's there. Then, Alka and Miss Marie join the hot spring, surprising everyone. Mena also shows up with Philo. Mena says she's been hired by the Amazi Kingdom and introduces Philo as their classmate. Philo mentions her goal to become Lloyd's apprentice and future wife. In the now crowded hot spring, Mina explains she's investigating incidents happening at the hotel and adds that she's also looking into illegal treant cultivation. Alka tells Lloyd she believes the treants are the cause of the comatose victims and asks him to do something about it. She introduces herself to Selen as the chief of Kunlun. When Alka stares at Lloyd as he gets out of the water, Philo throws her out of the hot spring. In the bushes, Kikyu watches. She notices the throw, but then 309's secretary, Minoki, spots her. He reveals he's been infested by a treant and laughs, saying he grew treants all over 309's favorite mountain to get back at him for mistreating him. He mentions using the Hemian family, who are against 309. As he speaks, branches begin to sprout from his body. Kikyu wonders what could be causing Lloyd's lightning-fast cleaning. Suddenly, she notices that Minoki has wrapped his branches around her legs. He claims he'll conquer the world with his new power. As he speaks, Lloyd shows up, looking for Alka. He thinks Minoki is just in a costume. Minoki gets annoyed and summons other treats. At the hotel, Selen's father and 309 are still discussing the Treants case. Koba is there too, and he finally reveals that the comatose cases started when 309 began visiting the hotel. Back in the bushes, Lloyd manages to take out the Treants, shocking Kikyu. Lloyd still believes Minoki is in a costume while Minoki, in his transformed state, heads toward the hotel. The people in the hot spring are the first to notice. Selen's father tells 309 that he is in business with the Lidocaine family, which is 309's family. 309 didn't know about this and is furious. Selen's father describes the representative from the Lidocaine family, and the description matches Minoki. 309 calls for the secretary. In that moment, Minoki appears, now resembling a large tree. He crashes through the window and charges at them. When he tries to attack, Mina and Philo try to stop him, but soon realize their magic doesn't work on him. Riho, Selen, and Marie are also there. Riho asks Selen to distract him while she slips away. In the chaos, a large brick falls on Selen's father as he pushes her out of its way. Riho reaches the spot where Shoma had left the firebombs earlier. Alan is there, now conscious. They start throwing firebombs at Minoki, using their magic to trap him while he fights back. Lloyd helps Selen's father get out from under the rock and asks her to take him somewhere safe. Marie tells Lloyd he's the only one who can hit the core of the monster Minoki has become. Lloyd rushes toward the trapped monster and strikes its core, taking out the demon seedling and destroying it. Minoki returns to his normal self. Shoma is in the bushes, watching, with Alka beside him. She's conscious and realizes she's been buried. Shoma says he did it to protect her from the cold, but he doesn't dig her out and admits he's working with that man. The next scene shows Alka complaining about being tired. She's been altering people's memories and healing the injured. Koba and 309 apologize to each other. Selen's father also apologizes to her and promises to support her, entrusting her to Lloyd's care. Selen is excited and hugs Lloyd passionately, once again mentioning their potential marriage. The first scene opens with Shoma walking with a girl. He takes her to a silver-haired man. The man asks her what he looks like to her, and she replies by asking if he isn't a priest. She wants revenge against someone who took her love away. The man instructs Shoma to give her some items to make her strong. There are 2 items. One is Trent medicine. She drinks it down, and it gives her wings and makes her feel powerful. It's morning. Lloyd serves food to Marie. She wants him to feed her, but before he can, Selen shows up. She shoves her belt into Marie's mouth and chokes her with the rest. Philo and Riho arrive to pick up Lloyd at the castle. They have orders from the king to hunt a huge snake in a dark dungeon. As cadets, they all have to go. Selen is excited just to be near Lloyd. The Azami royal family welcomes them, and Alan is there too. They start telling them about the snake. Witnesses say it's in the lowest level. The other Azami army is there to secure the dungeon area. Shoma and the silver-haired man are seated, drinking tea and discussing someone. The man says the person is in a nearby dungeon and is being hunted. He wants to eliminate eliminate this person before anyone else can get to him. Alka is watching them. At the dungeon entrance, Lloyd thanks Riho, Philo, and Selen for their help, promising to do his best. The girls argue over whom he's speaking to directly. Alan wants to guard the outside of the dungeon too. The girls tease him about being scared, and he vehemently denies it. Marie walks down a street, lost in thought. She's worried about Lloyd when Alka suddenly startles her from behind. Alka asks if there's a nearby dungeon and grabs Marie, dragging her along to show her where it is. Now in the dungeon, Lloyd and his team move quietly. Philo and Selen confront Riho, questioning her about her feelings for Lloyd. While they're interrogating her, they all feel the building shake. Everyone thinks it's a giant snake, but it's actually Marie and Alka who have fallen through. Alka breaks through a wall, leaving Marie behind. Moving in another direction, Marie stumbles upon something she thinks is the snake. It turns out to be a treat. At the core of the trant is the girl from earlier who drank the items given by Shoma. Marie recognizes her and calls out. She is Mikona. Mikona tells Marie she's waiting to take revenge on the person who stole her love. When asked, she reveals that person is Lloyd Belladonna. Mikona refuses to disclose who her lover is. She uses one of her tentacles to wrap around Marie. Apologizing, she explains she's doing it to lure Lloyd in. The plan works, and Marie calls for Lloyd, who rushes in. Now Mikona challenges Lloyd to fight her. She tightens the tentacle around Marie and uses her other tentacles to attack Lloyd. She unleashes all her power, sending Lloyd crashing against the wall. Next, she scratches his face along the wall, but Lloyd manages to push her away. Due to the commotion, Riho, Selen, and Philo rush in. This distracts Lloyd, allowing Mikona to injure him with her tentacles. Weak and hurt, Lloyd tells Mikona that he won't accept defeat and will work hard until he's a soldier like his friends. Mikona is furious. She charges at him with all her might, causing the dungeon walls to start collapsing. They crash through to the last level. Lloyd manages to send Mikona flying through the walls and out of the dungeon. It's over. Lloyd is weak. His friends hurry to him, impressed by what he did. But before they can celebrate, a giant snake emerges from the ground. He recognizes Lloyd and introduces himself as Vritra, the guardian beast of Kunlun. He claims to protect magical seals and maintain Alka's powers. The beast is angry with Alka because she once tried to make an apron from his skin, using Excalibur to carve it. Marie wonders if the snake sent the trant to Mikona. Just then, the silver-haired man enters. He asks Lloyd how he sees him, and Lloyd replies that he thinks he's a bad man. Because of this, the man recognizes Lloyd as the One. Soon after, Alka breaks through the dungeon floor to where they are. She identifies the silver-haired man as Su. So then approaches Vritra with the intent to eliminate him, stating he's been after Vritra for a long time. He digs his hand deep into Vritra's skin, saying that if he kills Vritra, Kunlun's seal will be broken. So kills Vritra. With Vritra gone, Su is thrilled that Alka's powers are lost. To his surprise, Alka charges at him and knocks him down. She tells everyone that she made an apron out of Vritra's skin and sold it since she accidentally cut it while making pasta. The apron is actually Selen's belt. Using magic, So disappears just as Alan and a few guards outside rush in due to the noise. As they enter, they see a figure glowing with purple light. He remembers needing to defend Lloyd, which motivates him. Alan uses his hatchet to strike the figure, and the building starts to collapse again. Alka releases a crystal ball for them to escape. In the next scene, the Azami king speaks to the soldiers. He thanks them for their efforts and wants to reward them. Alan turns down the reward. Because of that, the king grants him the title of Dragon Slayer to honor his achievements, surprising Alan. Now, alone in the room, Lloyd can't stop thinking about Su. He picks up his book and notices that the protagonist shares the same name as Su. He suspects it's not just a coincidence. It's nighttime, and the group of friends is celebrating. Alka shows up, covering Selen with a sack, and announcing that she will take them to Kunlun. The group gasps in shock. The Azami king has received some news. There's going to be an exhibition match between Azami and Jiu. He's addressing the soldiers, thinking it's a good idea to show the world that the relationship between both nations has normalized. He decides he will send the most legendary tough guy. Lloyd and his friends Riho, Selen, and Filuar on their way to Kunlun with Alka. They're currently walking through the forest. Alka mentions that a dwarf is waiting ahead for them, and they'll need to reunite with her first. The ladies are all excited about the Kunlun trip. Selen believes this is her chance to meet Lloyd's family. At that moment, Marie breaks the news that the trip to Kunlun is to fix Vritra. Mr. Chrome and Cholene are with them too. According to them, they've introduced Alan to the king to fight in the exhibition match between Azami and Jiu, which Alan is not happy about. He is the legendary tough guy the king mentioned. They arrive at a cave where there's a portal portal. Alka calls out to someone named Yug to come out. A blue-haired girl emerges from the portal, introducing herself as Professor Yug and stating that she is dwarven royalty. They're surprised she's called a dwarf, and even more shocked to learn she's in her hundreds. Yug starts to banter with Alka, who reveals that making the apron from Vritra's skin was Yug's idea, shocking the whole team. They use the portal to go to Kunlun. They reappear on a large landmass. They take turns admiring the scenery, but some are a bit disappointed with Kunlun's appearance. Upon reaching a fountain, Mr. Chrome, Riho, and Philo suddenly become tense. Mr. Chrome says he's sensing deadly vibes all around. Just then, they spot a family of 3 with lightning-quick abilities like Lloyd's. An arrow flies past them, and to their surprise, an older woman retrieves a message from the arrow. She writes a reply on the paper, puts a small rock inside it, and sends it flying across the mountain at lightning speed. Everyone except Lloyd is wide-eyed. He explains that's how they communicate. The woman recognizes Lloyd, and they greet each other. Her name is Mrs. Locomo. An older man then calls for Mrs. Locomo to help with some magic on a piece of equipment that looks like artillery. With her help, he's sent flying across the mountain. Although she misses them, Lloyd clarifies that they fly like that when they're in a hurry. Next, a man carrying what Riho describes as a killer piranha approaches. He recognizes Lloyd too. Philo bows to him, acknowledging him as Pirid, the Ogre Lord, and expresses her desire to learn the Pirid style from him. To her surprise, she finds out that the Pirid style she's been practicing is just an aerobics exercise. He agrees to teach her, while Riho offers to help with the piranha, which she discovers is very heavy. They arrive at Alka's mansion. Chrome and Holine rush off to the wheat field behind Alka's house, following instructions to find someone. There's a man. Holine calls out to him. His name is Murthafen. He has silver hair and a scar beneath his eyes. He's muscular too. He welcomes them and talks to Sholine about using feces as fertilizer, which she finds displeasing. She even punches him twice in the face. When Chrome asks Murthafen why he returned to Kunlun, he answers that he was involved in an attempted coup and can't go back. He also enjoys farming in Kunlun. Back at Alka's house, Mr. Gori and Kuman welcome Lloyd. Selen, thinking they are Lloyd's family, introduces herself as Selen Hemain and shows them her marriage registration forms. She tells them she plans to marry Lloyd. Before she can finish, the house starts shaking. Alka says it's just a pest. Barry explains it's the flying lizard, while Riho goes outside to deal with it. She encounters a big dragon and runs away, with the dragon in pursuit. Barry and Kuman come to help. They use the paper Selen gave them to make paper jets and launch them at the dragon. The first one knocks off a dragon horn. The others scare the dragon away. Selen realizes they just used her marriage forms and screams in surprise. Meanwhile, the duo thanks her for the paper while bringing the horn inside. It's time for dinner. Alka starts by welcoming everyone to her marriage with Lloyd. Selen and the other ladies glare at her. Even though Pirid claims it's a joke, she doesn't agree. He then welcomes Lloyd and his friends, and they dig in. The guests are excited about the food, calling it delicious, but once they hear where each dish came from, they change their minds but keep eating anyway. Riho helps with the cleanup. Pirid and the other villagers are getting ready to leave. Lloyd thanks them for coming. They ask him who his girlfriend is among the girls. Nervous, Lloyd can't answer. They begin choosing for him. Aunt Sofra suggests Riho, since she helped clean. Pirid thinks Philo has good moves in the Pirid style. Selen is furious. No one picked her. She asks Vritra for help. He suggests she impress the kids with her talking belt trick. In the next scene, Alka and Yug are having a discussion. Yug says it's time for something, but Alka discourages her. She mentions not wanting a repeat of last time. Yug is worried about what Vritra will do when he gets his memory back. Alka begs her to wait a bit longer. Selen is fuming on her bed, mumbling to herself, with her belt coiled in a corner. Riho yells at her to be quiet, and they start arguing. Selen is jealous that Riho was chosen and got expensive clothes to change into. Realizing how pricey they are, Riho takes off the clothes. Just then, Lloyd walks in with snacks. He's shocked to see Riho naked. Philo immediately kicks him out the window and then ties up Riho as punishment. In another room, Murthafan apologizes to Marie for something he did. Sholine and Chrome are there too. She asks how he got manipulated. He explains that a traveling merchant gave him a mysterious and creepy egg to take to the king, and he did. After that, he stopped worrying about the consequences and felt driven by a strange impulse. Marie asks him to describe the merchant, but he can't. Sholine suspects the merchant is behind the demon lord, who was manipulating her father. Just then, Murthafan remembers the merchant asking him what he looked like. Suddenly, they all realize it was so. It's morning in Kunlun. Alka, Marie, Yug, Lloyd, and his friends are walking through a forest. They want to bring Vritra back to life. Lloyd and Riho are walking nervously together. Yug asks if something happened between them the night before. The two immediately shout that nothing occurred. Vritra is furious that Alka isn't taking his resurrection seriously. They reach their destination, and Yug informs them that it's the last dungeon. The last dungeon is described as the prison at the end of the world. It looks like an ordinary building. Riho, however, thinks there could be rare treasures inside. Alka corrects her, saying it's actually filled with demon lords. Yug educates them about the last dungeon, explaining that the other ones they encountered were decoys made by dwarves to hide the last dungeon. Alka adds that, as residents of Kunlun, their job is to defeat any demon lord that escapes from there. Even Lloyd doesn't know this. Yug explains Vritra's role. He protects Alka and Kunlun. She adds that whenever Alka takes damage, she can transfer it to Vritra, allowing her to harness the power of the place. Yuga continues by saying there's something in the last dungeon that affects the global collective subconscious, making people think that this is how things work. She explains that they used this, along with ancient texts and fairy tales, to create Alka and the others. This confuses them even more. Marie then reminds them that Alka forgot all the rules, went ahead and skinned Vritra, and caused all the issues they had out of negligence. Alka tries to defend herself, saying it was Yug's idea to make the apron from Vritra's skin. Yug brushes her off. Yug reveals that if they insert the key, the holy sword, all the demon lords would be freed. Colleen and Chrome gasp in shock, recalling that they used the holy sword as a prize. Chrome informs Yug that the sword is in the kingdom's treasury. Vritra parts ways with Selen, ready for his resurrection. They begin. Yug flicks her wrist, and an open kitchen appears. She takes some boneless ribs, which she says will serve as the base. She pounds, rolls, and wraps it with Vritra to keep its shape. Then she sears it in a frying pan until it's brown. After that, she lets the meat rest and prepares a sauce made from soy sauce, cooking alcohol, sliced ginger, and green onions. She also adds a special culture solution. Later, she purifies the meat still wrapped in Vritra and dips it in an egg. She then boils the egg at a high temperature and stews it for about 3 hours over low heat. After 3 hours, when the pot is opened, purple fog bursts out, surrounding them. It clears to reveal the egg. Yug calls Alka over and taps her on the forehead. Alka feels weak. Yug says this has successfully severed Alka's connection to the last dungeon and will give her the stamina of a 9-year-old. The ritual is complete. They all plan to head back to Azami to watch the exhibition match right away. Before they go, Yug pulls Alka aside. They walk through the forest alone. While Alka rambles about how she'll use her new weakness to make Lloyd take care of her, Yug steps on a button on the ground. Suddenly, the ground under Alka opens up, and she falls in. Shocked, Alka asks Yug what she's doing. Yug declares war. She reveals that now that she knows where the holy sword is, she just needed to pretend to resurrect Vritra, but she actually sealed him away. She adds that the world needs rebuilding and that she's working with So and Shoma. After this betrayal, she seals Alka in. Yug goes over to the portal where everyone else, except Lloyd, is waiting. She encourages them to continue without Lloyd, saying she needs to discuss something with him. They leave. Moments later, Lloyd rushes over. He finds only Yug there. Yug asks if he's seen Alka. He says no, and runs off to try to find her. Yug urges him on. Riho and the others are now out of the cave. Yug is with them too. To their surprise, Murthafan joins them as well, which startles Yug. Murthafan says he just needs to deliver some vegetables to Marie, and will head back on his own right away. Yug tells him she shut the portal behind her, explaining that she had to leave Lloyd behind to keep Alka quiet. Philo and Selen are crying out of regret while Cholene grabs Murthafan and runs off, leaving Chrome alone to set up the exhibition match. On their way back, Riho is excited to sell the clothes she got in Kunlun. Yug wants to buy them from her and even offers to fix up Riho's arm. Riho decides to think it over first, but ends up selling them to someone else and is amazed by how much money she got. While considering selling her panties too, Mena approaches her. They talk about Kunlun, and Mena mentions she's on patrol. Mena and Riho visit Roll. Mena offers her some shish kebab. Roll is writing a book titled How to Take Out a Rival, Workplace Edition. She explains that it's a guide on how to survive as a weak person in the world. Riho then asks her about the person who told her to get the holy sword. Raul recalls that the person asked her how he looked to her, and thinks he was with a small child making a sound like it was sucking on something. Riho believes that must be Yug. Back at the castle, Alan informs Riho and Mena that the kings of Azami and Jiu are coming to check the stadium, and he needs them to run a security check in the area. He takes Cholene with him to guard the king. Selen and Philo are there too, and Selen sends psychic waves of love to Sir Lloyd. Alan is nervous about the match and shares his fears with the girls. Suddenly they notice that So and Shoma are there for the match. Riho warns the king of Azami about potential danger and asks him to cancel the exhibition match. Upon hearing from Chrome that she's friends with Marie, the king agrees to discuss it over tea. Meanwhile, in Kunlun, Alka is contemplating Yug's betrayal and wonders if anyone will come to rescue her. Just then, the seal opens, and it's Lloyd, who jumps in to save her. He tells her he once fell into the same hole and decided he needed to be strong enough to help people. She hugs him. On the other hand, Yug is giving a situation report to Sue and Shoma. She informs them that the gate to Kunlun has been shut off, so there are no more irregularities. They have Makona with them. Alka and Lloyd have made it out of the hole and are now aware of the situation at the portal gate. Alka doesn't seem bothered and tells Lloyd she has a plan, urging him to hurry to the village. Lloyd, Alka, and a few villagers gather around the traveling artillery to send Lloyd off to Azami. She's given him instructions on what to do. Mrs. Locomo uses magic to send him off, while Lloyd also uses his magic to propel himself even further. Back in Azami, everyone is at the stadium for the exhibition match. The king gives the signal for the match to start. Alan charges at a figure in a hoodie with a hatchet, but it turns out to be a decoy. Mycona appears in the air, wings spread. She's Alan's opponent, and Lloyd's friends are shocked by this twist. Mycona moves quickly toward Alan, striking him and sending him flying against the wall, breaking it. Alan is already spitting blood. The Azami king is not pleased. He asks the Jew Empire king what's happening. The Jew king apologizes for not being entirely upfront. He suggests that the Azami king should consider an alliance between their kingdoms to conquer the world. He adds that the Jew Empire has the technology to transform humans into powerful, obedient weapons using monster energy, while the Amazi kingdom has the resources and finances for global conquest. As he explains this to the Amazi king, Alan and Makona are still fighting. Makona keeps knocking Alan down, and he soon loses consciousness. When asked for his thoughts, the Amazi king is momentarily speechless. Chrome and Cholene try to advise him against it, but Shoma intervenes. Finally, the Amazi king states that when the demon lord Abaddon took over 5 years ago, it caused his people a lot of pain. Therefore, he declines the offer. After the Amazi king rejects the proposal, the Jew king signals for Yug to come. Just as she's about to act, Riho and Philo stop her, saying they suspect her plans involve taking the holy sword to unlock the last dungeon. Selin and Marie join in, pointing out that Yug left Lloyd and Alka behind in Kunlun since they would hinder her. They all agree not to let her get away with it. Yug is shaken and asks how they plan to stop her. They insist they won't back down without a fight. Yug is furious. She unleashes a swarm of Abaddon's locusts on the villagers in the stadium, taking them hostage. Meanwhile, Jew's king is still trying to change the Amazi king's mind. Immediately, Chrome calls for an attack. The villagers aren't just regular folk, they've been replaced with soldiers and adventurers. They start to fight off the locusts, surprising their opponents. Murthafan appears behind Shoma and tells him to leave, but Shoma refuses. Murthafan strips and declares he'll show Shoma the wonders of agriculture. He has 2 weapons, the Scythe of Adamus and the Tablet of Destiny. Shoma tells Murthafan he's doing this for Lloyd, wanting to ensure that Lloyd doesn't grow weary of the world like he has. He's preparing a grand stage with the best supporting actors to help Lloyd shine. He teases Murthafan about being strong yet still ordinary, then suddenly appears in front of him and uses magic to slam him into the wall. Riho and Marie are trying their magic against the locusts. They use fire but realize it will take too long to deal with them individually. Before they can decide what to do, Makona separates them with her tentacles and charges toward them. However, she just lightly touches Marie's face and starts giggling. Philo then kicks her into a wall. In the king's court, Jiu's king knocks out Chrome and Cholene. He orders the king of Amazi to lead him to the holy sword. Alan comes to his rescue and strikes the Jiu king, cutting off one arm. However, the halves join right back together. Alan is startled. The Jiu king claims he was born special and is made of runes like a hero, human, immortal, and others. He adds that he was created by Alka when the world was still in chaos to save and lead humanity using runes. According to him, he was supposed to vanish once it was done, but he couldn't. He became bound to the world in a half-baked way. He claims his existence began to fade and he was seen as different things by different people. When asked why he is causing destruction, he replies that he wants to vanish. To do that, he has to kill Alka, turn someone else into the hero, and make himself the root of all evil. This will make it possible for him to die. He intends to turn Lloyd into the hero. At that moment, a fog appears in the center of the stadium. When it clears, it reveals Lloyd. He starts asking about Alan and the match. He spots Yug and tells her Alka had mentioned her. He says Alka told him that Yug ran off because she couldn't resurrect Vritra and closed the gate so no one would go after her. Yug defends herself, saying she didn't do it on purpose. She tells him she wants to fill the world with demon lords and bring it to its knees. Lloyd pretends not to believe her. Marie explains to Lloyd the cause of the locusts. Then, he orders Yug to give him Vritra's egg because he had been ordered to destroy it. She refuses. Instead, she takes out the candy-like item she always sucks on and throws it into the air, creating a red circle. Soon, a giant golem emerges from the circle. The golem uses a light force to pick up an unconscious Mycona and suck her into its core. Marie pleads with Lloyd to help. Lloyd and the golem start fighting. Lloyd uses magic to destroy its arm. To his surprise, the arm regenerates. Yug is using a remote to control the golem. Lloyd doesn't give up. He destroys the arms and legs again, but they grow back. Next, Yug tries to create the light force again and directs it at Lloyd, but he dodges. The golem then strikes Lloyd down. Marie and the others decide to help. Marie suggests the golem is using Mycona as its regeneration core. If Mycona is freed, its ability should weaken. While they make plans, the golem continues attacking Lloyd, who is now extremely weak. He reflects on his inability to defeat a real monster while Philo orders Marie and Riho to go help him. The golem is still stomping on Lloyd. He begins to bleed. To Yug's surprise, Murthafan uses his scythe to hold up the golem's foot. While doing this, he encourages Lloyd to get up. Riho and Marie try calling out to Mycona to wake up, but she remains unconscious. They call out again, and she finally wakes up. Meanwhile, Murthafan climbs on the golem, still fighting it. Lloyd finally gets up, motivated by Murthafan's words. On hearing this, Mycona revives herself and jumps out of the golem, bringing it crashing down. She grabs the panties from Riho, blushing as she hugs them. Selen, running toward Yug, snatches Vritra's egg away from her. She scolds Vritra for staying in while chaos reigns everywhere. Then she begins to recite data about Lloyd, calling it the teachings of Sir Lloyd. Chapters 173. The egg starts to stir as she hurriedly recites without stopping. Soon, the egg explodes. Vritra emerges, shaped like a belt. He apologizes and pleads with Selen to stop. He wraps himself around her, shocking Yug. Yug is surprised that Vritra can unseal himself. Again, the golem rises, but this time, Lloyd defeats it. Yug's shock intensifies. She calls on Shoma and So for help, but they are instead taking pictures of Lloyd and calling him a hero. Yug realizes they only helped so Lloyd could be a hero. As she speaks, fire rocks burst from the red circle, destroying all the remaining locusts. Alka appears. Yug refuses to give up. She rambles about building a more advanced world, telling Alka she will keep trying until she succeeds. Alka promises to stick around as well. Shoma and So grab Yug while she is still talking. So says he won't kill her just yet because he still has things to help Lloyd with. He congratulates Lloyd and promises to bring more evil deeds before they disappear. In the next scene, Murthafan is now an official soldier. The friends are at Lloyd's house. Lloyd is serving food. Alka and Selen are still vying for Lloyd's attention. He settles them down, thanks them for coming, and they eat.